Weekly Life Challenge. Stronger, happier, better, together. Hi, welcome to the end of week 2, the beginning of week 3. This week I was practicing gratitude. I did a bunch of different things this week. One day I just lay in my bed and I let my mind wander through the day, and I picked out the really good aspects, the things that were positive in the day. And I was thankful for those. Another day I spoke aloud in the car as I was driving, things that I was grateful for. Another day I read through the list, my previous list or gratitude journal, and that was really interesting, actually. Let me say something about that. I had written that list 3 or 4 years ago when I lived in a very different situation. I was in a different country and had a different kind of job, and our family size was different. There were a lot of things that weren't the same, and yet the majority of things on the list still rang true, and the specific things about them aren't applicable anymore, but the sentiment behind them is still true. I just thought it was interesting that the things that I was grateful for back then are the things that I'm still really grateful for right now. And so it makes sense that things that are important to me 4 years ago will be important to me now, but it was interesting to see it right there in front of me on the paper. Another day I used some markers to change it up a little bit, and I wrote things I was grateful for in the beautiful word thanks. And like that, just different things every day. In the past, as I talked about before, I had done something a little more regimented where I had 3 things each day, and I think I prefer that system better. As I continue with gratitude, I think this is a really important thing to continue practicing for the rest of my life. And so as I move forward, I'm going to transition back to something more akin to that model. I'm going to keep a little journal by my bed, and I'll write a couple things in it in the morning or the evening or as I think about it, just to kind of ground myself in gratitude. But a couple of things that were really, there were a lot of the people who are, some of the interesting things, one of the really interesting things about doing this challenge was the conversations that I've had because of it. So some people have told me that they've been participating. Somebody was doing gratitude in the morning before getting out of bed. I think partly to prolong the getting out of bed, but also because it's a really great way to start the day. Somebody else had a really interesting take on it. She was spending the entire week focusing on one person and thinking about 3 specific things, she was writing very specific things that she was grateful for about that person for an entire week. And I think that's a significant challenge and probably a really beautiful thing for her. I just loved having the conversations and hearing other people working on intentional gratitude and seeing how it's impacted them. For me, I found even within the second or third day of starting to do this intentional gratitude practice, that my mind started being grateful on its own, unprovoked. Unprovoked gratitude, happy, thankful thoughts. And I love that. I love that just spending a few minutes each day kind of training it, then it just kind of takes off from there. And something that might have seemed negative or something that might have really discouraged me didn't seem quite so bad. Not to say that this week was perfect. They're definitely, the fears from last week are still here. The frustrations from last week are still here. But in a small way, things seem a little bit better, seem a little bit more manageable. My mind really is looking for the positive in things just from a little bit of practice. So that's incredible. I'm no researcher, but my anecdotal evidence supports the research that gratitude practice is definitely worth doing. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep my little journal by my bed, and I'm going to continue to be grateful, intentionally grateful. So I wanted to have these flowers in the shot today because they represent many things that I am thankful for. They represent spring and sunshine and new life after long cold winters, all of that, which I am very thankful for. But also, to me, they represent shared meals and good conversations and generous people and friendships that I want to foster. So they remind me of that. And that's another thing I've learned, that if I can kind of plant a few things if I can plant a few things in my day that remind me of something wonderful, then it also helps to trigger the grateful thoughts, which then create more grateful thoughts, and things just snowball from there. But not real snow, not in the spring. Okay, so that kind of moves us into week 3 as we speak of spring. Speaking of spring, let's wipe our noses. Okay, so speaking of spring, I'm going to talk a little bit about week 3 now. So this week, I want to kind of harness the energy that comes with spring. It feels like spring feels lighter to me. We change our big heavy wool coats for sweaters and our big clunky boots for shoes, and pushing a stroller when there's no snow is so much easier. People have a bit of a spring in their step. Maybe the expression comes from spring. There's an energy that comes with the revitalization of the earth and the renewal of life, and the joy that comes to the people who've been locked indoors for so long, stuck indoors, not locked. People who've been stuck indoors for so long in the long cold winters. And I think that's why spring cleaning is a thing, because people want to open up their windows and freshen up their places, and they have the energy to scrub the corners and do whatever. But this week I'm not going to focus on spring cleaning. I'm going to trick ya. This week I'm going to focus on spring lightening, spring purging, spring minimizing. I want to go through the apartment, and I want to have honest conversations with myself about what we have and what we need, and try to make those things align a little bit better. This also comes out of the gratitude challenge. I've been focusing on positive things and realizing reminding myself that we have so much and we don't need everything we have. And so I spent a long time thinking about how I'm going to set up this challenge so that I'm successful. Because I don't want to say, I'm going to go through the whole house and purge everything we don't need, because that's too ambitious. But it would be a real challenge. And then I thought, okay, I'll just say I'll go through the clothes. If I can get through my clothes and my kids' clothes, I have 2 small kids, then I'll feel like I've completed the challenge. But in the end, it doesn't matter if I complete the challenge. What I'm going for here, my goal is, like I said, to really think about what we have and what we need, and to bring those things into alignment, and then free up the things that we have but don't need for other people who may not have and need that thing. So the official challenge is undecided. I don't know. I'm going to purge. I'm going to for sure get through the clothes. I'm going to challenge myself I'm going to commit to for sure getting through the clothes. Little kids, they outgrow their stuff so much, and there's great places for me to bring them. I have actually bags already that are just sitting there and need to go. So for sure the clothes. Then after that, start with the books and the pockets of the apartment that are clutter prone. I think you probably know what I mean, because you probably have places in your life that are clutter prone. And so I'd like to work on those next. And from there, just see whatever catches my attention, whatever part of the apartment seems like it needs attention. Maybe the toys. I'd like to do the toys. And so I'm not setting a specific goal for how much, just that I'm going to commit to spending this week working at lightening the apartment, getting rid of sharing with others, springing. That's not really it, but it felt like it would be a good way to connect the whole thing. Failed attempt. Anyway, I tried. So if this is something that you feel like would benefit you, I'd love to hear about it. And if not, stay tuned for week 4. We'll do something else that maybe fits you a little bit better. But I am excited. I'm excited to give myself the motivation to tackle some of the areas, physical spaces in my life that I've been avoiding. I'm looking forward to pushing myself to getting started, and then hoping that the momentum of starting will help me keep going, and then I'll have big bags, a big trunk full of stuff to bring to my local Mennonite Central Committee thrift shop or somewhere else. I'll find a good place. Okay, so thanks for watching, and if you want to know more about this, please go to weeklylifechallenge.com, And there's a Facebook group if you want to join and be encouraged by other people also, which you can find through weeklylifechallenge.com. And I will see you next week. Trick ya!